Hello, everybody. I'm John.
And I'm Claire.
And today we're talking about Spain's deadliest flood ever. You've probably heard about this. You've probably seen it in the news. There's some shocking footage that came from it, like really amazing, shocking footage. But maybe we can show that or not. I'm not sure.
Here's a clip.
Yeah, right. But we will read about it. But before we get into reading about what happened with this flood, let's ask a couple questions. What about you guys? What is the worst flood that you have ever experienced or maybe even heard about? And how about you?
The one that's kind of the worst, but with the luckiest twist, came about 5 or 6 years ago. My grandmother lives in a little village right on the banks of the Humber River in sort of northeast UK. And it's a tidal river, so it does flood a little bit regularly. They've got flood defences, but about 5 or 6 years ago, it rained so much, the flood was way higher than normal, and it burst the banks. And the village flooded quite badly. Loads of property was damaged, but the floodwaters stopped right next door to my grandmother's house. She was literally the first of the houses not to get flooded. Wow. Unbelievable. She couldn't believe it, we couldn't believe it. So thank goodness for my grandmother, but a lot of her neighbours, her friends in the village, she was sort of helping them out, and it was sad, and took ages to clean up and stuff, but...
Was it like one of those movie moments where she's just sitting inside with her tea, and it's coming closer and closer, but then it just stops?
If you'd been making that movie, John, that's what it would have looked like. Yes, The Great Doncaster Flood, directed by John.
Called Good Enough. No. Anyways, that's never mind. What would you do during a flood to survive, or what can you do?
Again, I've got to kind of rely on movies. Get some sandbags. Do you put sandbags outside your doorstep maybe to stop water?
Yeah, in movies.
Move your precious valuables up to the highest you can, into the attic if you've got one.
Like computers.
Yeah, electrical items, anything that you can rescue. Go up there, take water, take supplies. If you can evacuate, do evacuate. When they tell you to, don't wait, don't think, I'll probably be fine, because you might not be.
Yeah. You might not be grandma's house.
I can't think of anything else.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I mean, really, when I read this question, I was like, I've never thought about this before.
Colorado, is that quite high elevation?
I mean, it is high elevation, and there are floods sometimes. It's just, I've never been in an area with them. I've never had to worry about any flooding happening. I was in a city with flooding, but it was like the places that were flooded are never near where I lived. So it's like, I think I was in like 1,000-year flood range, which means you might get a flood every 1,000 years or something. So it's like, don't need to worry about it.
Yes.
Just the movies. But what we should be looking at instead of movies is the article. Go ahead and read that in the entirety or just in part if you have no time, and we'll see you soon.
Spain's deadliest flood ever. Destructive floods in eastern Spain have killed at least 205 people, primarily in Valencia, marking Spain's deadliest flood disaster in modern history. Over 90% of households have regained power, but thousands remain cut off. Rescuers, including 500 soldiers, are searching for missing people as rains continue in nearby regions. The floods destroyed infrastructure and farmland after a year's worth of rain fell in just 8 hours. Residents criticized authorities' delayed warnings, while scientists point to climate change and a warming Mediterranean as factors behind the intensifying extreme weather.